I think we have to really know how to get this message to women that you actually have these wonderful hormones in your body that help you give birth. You have to learn how to access them. And you access them about the mood that you're able to be in. So we want the mood that you're in to be maybe similar to what it was when you conceived the baby.
Right. The energy that gets the baby in gets
Yes,
the
it
baby
does.
out. I remember you said that.
So,
Yeah.
how do we do that? Well, it's best done in intimate surroundings. How do you make a hospital labor room intimate? Well, it could be done. It has been done in some hospitals in other countries, but it doesn't come from the business manager. It doesn't come from administrators. It comes from midwives and doctors to go together going, you have to understand about birth. You have to understand that this is a very sensitive time. It's a sacred time. We should actually start to use that word sacred. So when it's something sacred, you're trying to protect something. And I think what you're trying to protect is that intimate atmosphere that's necessary for the body to open. And you have to teach the man and the woman, you know, how many millions of years of evolution have actually prepared us to give birth. We're the fittest. We just don't know we're fit.
Yeah.
You know, we've been taught that we're not fit. And then when you're taught something and you believe it, well, you keep your blood from flowing to the parts of your body where it needs to flow, because you're all busy-brained here, you know.
You're going to love this. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I was at my play, and in the talkback, a 8th grade girl stands up, and she says, my mother brought me here, and I just thought, I don't know, play on childbirth, okay. And she stands up, and she starts talking about how she saw these stories and the power that these women felt giving birth has just, it resonated so deeply in her, you know, and she really got it. And I felt really excited about that because, you know, what you're talking about, just people knowing that this is, transformation is possible. All of these things in giving birth are possible if we trust it, if we trust our bodies, all of these things. To see a young girl begin to get this, and you know, she loved the My Body Rocks part of the play when one of the characters is chanting My Body Rocks, but she really got it on a deeper level too, because the My Body Rocks, you know, one thing that I think in our society, I've had a lot of time to think about this through the play. Now it's 5 years since the Bold movement started, and that uses the play to raise awareness, to raise money. We just realized the other day we've raised almost $1 million to help make maternity care mother-friendly. It's really exciting, but there's this piece of showing women how to step into the feminine and have them not be afraid of that. Our culture, I think, is so masculine-based, the busy, 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 you know, shun your intuition. But this feminine piece and making it look sexy, not like, oh, you're not smart if you're going with your gut. You know, you should go with the numbers only.
Right.
Which actually the numbers tell us a lot.
Numbers are
the
on
numbers
our side.
are on our side. No, so you know, in terms of educating the typical woman today, what would you say are some of the ways that we could creatively educate more pregnant women and before pregnancy? Our culture.
Well, I think
really,
that
our culture.
if they know that oxytocin that comes through the IV is actually made in your body, and it's made in your body when you're in a calm state of mind. And when you're in this calm state of mind, I mean, you're happy, you're curious, you want to relate with people. Okay, you're not afraid. Now, what we don't know is that you can come from a state of fear and suddenly lose that fear. How can you do that? Somebody can make you laugh. Instantly, fear is gone when you're laughing. So that's why I noticed this, you know, that women that could laugh and chuckle a little bit when they were laboring, labored so much more easily. My job was easier, you know. So I thought, well, how do I make her laugh? Well, I do gross jokes. That's what I do. I make
Whatever works.
poop jokes. I'm
Okay.
serious. Poop
Yeah.
jokes will make you laugh in that like way that little kid will laugh, and it's like
Yeah.
a belly laugh.
Right.
And you just howl with laughter sometimes.
And then
you know?
they're out of the fear.
That's right. And,
Yeah.
you know, you might be afraid that you might poop in labor. Well, could happen, and it's not the end of the world. It means the baby will soon be out. It's good news. And if you're offended by it, well, think of what the opposite would be. If you couldn't poop, you'd die. Okay, so
Right.
there we are. And then, I'm sure of this, and we haven't done the studies yet, but when you're laughing, not only is your oxytocin level instantly raised, which is antagonistic and it will lower the adrenaline, but you also get endorphin. Now, endorphin is another ecstatic hormone, and it's an opiate. Not only does your body make the oxytocin go to labor happening, and it's also protective of the uterus and keeps you from hemorrhaging, but it blocks out pain. That's pretty fancy.
So right. We need more people to know
so
these
let's
things.
learn that when you're little
Yeah.
kids. Here's the other thing that an 8-year-old can know. Instinctively, an 8-year-old, if you hand them a little kitty or a puppy, what would they do?
Right.
They're so
They
gentle.
cuddle it.
Why don't we see our own species handled? When we see birth on television, why don't we see that same gentleness that an 8-year-old would have
Yeah.
with the newborn of another
Absolutely.
species? Why don't we see these little vulnerable, wide open, very sensitive newborns handled as if they're precious and intelligent and aware, and they know, you can tell the expression on their face. They know that somebody else is holding them other than their mother, and they're trying to communicate with their little bodies. Take me to my mother. I'm supposed to be with my mother.
Right.
And sometimes I'll just say, I know. She's just adjusting her situation. Now we're trying to get a dry pad under her bottom. We're going to put you right back, and then you'll watch the worry go out of their face when you say, I know you want your mommy.
Right.
We're going to put her back there.
Right. And when you explain it that way, people can get it because people know, with animals we treat them that. It's incredible how we have this disconnect.
Yeah.
And I've always been fascinated. That's why I even start the play off with, they talk about, one of the moms talks about puppies and kittens who are born every year in my home. And, and at the end of that first scene, it says, I wanted what my dog got.
Yeah.
I
love that line.
I mean,
I love that
I
line.
wanted what my dog got.
Yeah.
Because really, there was such a respect and an honoring of the process.
Yeah.
And we would never think to go in and grab and poke and, a dog in labor or a kitten or a cat or, so why are we doing that to pregnant mothers? And not even beyond that, how can we get pregnant mothers to see that that's the environment that's optimum for birth?
And I think one of the things we don't know too is our own history, because there's Susan B. Anthony, so she's lauded rightly as one of our really important feminist leaders, of her time. She had no children. Her best friend, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and my grandmother taught me about her when I was 10. She wanted me to read about both of them. Well, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, I found out through my reading later, she had 7 kids. She loved giving birth. She had a 12-pounder, was her, I think, her 5th or her 6th, and she said, I was almost like a savage. How about that? I just delivered this enormous girl my own, and then I was up moving about the room, and she loved it. So why don't we recognize that she included motherhood in her feminism? We should too, you see, because your status as a woman shouldn't go down because you become a mother.
Right.
Yeah?
Right. Well, and this savageness, I think, is what a lot of women fear.
They do. Yeah.
They fear that when actually when you allow it, it's beauty, it's
where the
love,
power
it's
is.
where the power is, and it's hard to articulate that. And I try to do that on stage. It's why I particularly end with a home birth.
Sure.
For a reason. To really show people the possibility of what birth can be.
One of the things that I learned, early on, and I just kept learning things that made me gasp. I mean, here I was about to show a video, which was quite fresh and new then. This was probably 1981 or 2. And I was doing grand rounds, so I was being introduced by the chairman of the OBD department to the rest of the faculty and to all these incoming residents. And he said, do you realize that you and I are the only people in this room who have seen a vaginal breech birth? And I went, you're kidding. These guys are doctors and they'd never seen it.
Yeah.
What I also didn't know is they'd never seen an intact perineum. They had only seen women cut, you know? So women themselves don't think they can open to have a baby. And
Right.
and we use this unfortunate language, oh, I have to stretch. And then you'll have comedians who don't know better going, oh, what is it to have a baby? Oh, it's like when you take your lower lip and you pull it back over your head. No, your lip wasn't made to do that. Yeah. Or another, this came from Jessica Mitford, the important writer, who said her mother told her it was like squeezing an orange out through your nostril. Sorry, your nostril wasn't made to do that. But listen, our genital organs, and you know this very well, change size and shape according to what's in your mind and what visual stimuli are like, or touch stimuli are like. And men can't get erections when somebody's threatening them with bodily harm. If they do,
exactly, right.
How can a woman change the size and shape of her body, which just happens when the blood slams down there? I mean, now she's not thinking very well, but her vagina can go like that.
Right.
She can get out a 12-pounder, just like Elizabeth Cady Stanton did.
Right.
And so when women learn that, and they'll go, my vagina won't be ruined, it might be even improved by birth. There's an idea for you.
There you go.
So when we get that out, and you're not allowed to say that on contemporary television now. You're certainly not allowed to see it in the United States of America. In my book here, we got the cover, and if you see the same one in the UK, you'll see the whole baby, because they're actually allowed to see the whole baby there. And we think that the Puritans are in England.
No.
The real Puritans came here. Right. I still love this cover, but it couldn't. The UK cover couldn't be done in the US, or bookstores wouldn't have covered it.
When I see posters of my play in Canada, the difference in what they can and will show compared to the posters here, we have to begin to think, puritanical,
certain sites we're not allowed to see.
Yeah.
Well, and there are, I think that lots of cultures recognize this, from Central South Americans, certainly, they have images of the birth-giving goddess figure. Yeah.
Right.
And I think they do it for a reason, because they know that a little girl needs to know she's got a part of her body that's capable and competent to do it, and that isn't going to ruin her. Because I think a lot of the fear that the younger generation is experiencing in regards to birth is they cannot visualize how an enormous baby could get out of a woman without ruining her.
Right.
And since they've heard that it can ruin her, and of course it can if she's not able to be open, if all her blood's in her head, and your blood, when you're afraid, is in your head. It's not in the part of the body where it needs to be. It's sloshing around, okay?
Absolutely.
And we want it to slosh here, and it can do that with kissing and cuddling and privacy and intimacy and being allowed and even help to go into a trance. And also when somebody just makes you laugh with relief, then it goes right here where it's needed. And I've had it, just a last-minute joke, save a woman from a perineal tear.
Yeah.
So I want women to understand your body is beautifully designed, and I hope more women will try to explore that and say, oh, I never thought about it that way.
Well, and I
don't have to be afraid of my body. Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I just want to say one last thing. I had to put in the line that you put in Ina May Gaskin's Guide to Childbirth, your body's not a lemon.
It's not a lemon.
Because that, to me, was the message that I think more and more pregnant women need to get, that your body is not a lemon. And that was the message the character Jillian got in the play. It took her a while. It's a journey, and she woke up. And when she woke up, she knew, my vision, my body's not a lemon. So thank you for all your wisdom.
Thank you. And thanks to the women who taught it to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where I learned it.
It comes,